Get your little tail up. That's it. Don't tuck your tail under. You look like you're cowed.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi.
And good morning.
We're talking to the dog.
We're trying to get the dog to look pretty for you this morning. I'm
Isn't
Nancy
she
Kaysen.
cute?
Good morning. It's great to be with you
Come here, baby.
this morning. And
Sweetie.
we have,
Come
I have a little gift shop downtown called the Red Ribbon. We'll talk about that in a little later. Brene Beatty.
Retired, gone to the dogs.
Gone to the dogs.
Yes,
and
baby.
Mary Ballard,
Come
who
here.
is a volunteer at the animal shelter. And we have this absolutely adorable dog. And she's really not cowed. And that's what I was fussing at her about was get her, which is probably cowed her, get her tail up out from between her legs like she's a cowed dog.
Precious.
But she is precious. She's just shy.
And we are enough too.
Well, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. And so that's just the way things happen. But it's Mary. It's good to have you with us. And now, let's just start out with the dog adoptions that you all have on Saturday.
Yes. Okay. We're
well. Go ahead.
While she's looking for the number, I'll go ahead. Okay. We normally have them on Saturdays from 9 until about 3 at Tractor Supply, but it's 80% chance of rain this week, and it's going to be cold, and it's just not good. Okay. It's just not good for the dogs to be out in that kind of weather because we don't have. If anybody wants to donate to Cleveland for a no-kill, one of those tents that has the sides on it.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
Or wants to, just, donate the use of it on Saturdays, we would be piteously grateful, put a sign up and everything, and, let people know about your generosity. Mm-hmm. But, and we've got heaters we can put in it for them.
Okay.
But anyway, because there's 80% chance of rain this week, the adoption event will more than likely, unless a miracle happens, be held over at Animal Control from 10 until 12. But do come over there. We've got a bunch of really nice dogs.
And here's one right here.
Yes,
she is.
Now, okay, before we go any further, tell them, in case they don't know where Animal Control is, let's tell them where it is because that's where the adoption event is going to be Saturday.
Animal Control is off of Inman Street at 360 Hill Street. If you're going out of town toward Polk County from downtown Cleveland, turn to the right. They're at that scrap metal place. The road is just
right
before
it turns the 4-lane.
Just before, and there's a blue and white sign with silhouettes of cats and dogs on it. So you'll be able to recognize it, and it's just not even probably a quarter of a mile out that road. So please go by because of the limited hours, only 2 hours instead of from 9 until 3. Those hours, not as many get adopted on Saturday. Because people don't know where it's at, but.
And they all need homes for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
However, let me give this caveat. Think before you give a dog or a cat as a gift, and we do have cats. We've talked about that before. We're just not.
She wants in my lap.
We're just not really cat people.
And we apologize for that, but we're not. And we've told you why before. We've had cats, and they either sang along with the people that were playing the guitar, and it wasn't their time to be on, or they got loose, and we were digging them out from under pieces of equipment here at the theater.
And you've heard about herding cats.
And herding cats is what we did one day. So that's why we just really, because you can't, you bring them in a carrier, and you can't see them.
Yeah.
So you need to, we need to have something to show you. And kittens are sweet, but they just don't want to sit for very long.
No, and they
in
tend
your
to
lap.
claw you.
They do.
When they get upset.
And they
dogs,
crawl.
Dogs you can kind of manage.
Yeah.
But, puppies.
So, but it's not that we don't love cats.
Yes.
It's just that trying to manage them on the show is just kind of difficult. So
yes.
we don't.
But don't give an animal for a Christmas present, especially to a small child, unless you are willing to make the commitment to it. Because they are not things. They are living, breathing creatures, and they need care and love, and they need to be inside. That's my opinion. I know.
And I know because of my allergies, they don't come inside my house, but they are taken care of outside, and that is good.
Yeah.
But I cannot have inside animals. And so.
And don't give the animal the day of Christmas because there's a lot of excitement going on.
Oh, golly, yes.
Puppies running around everywhere, and it's not really a good thing. So,
goodness.
We've had a dog escape.
Well, we talked about the cats running around. Now we've had a dog escape.
You want to go get it?
You can move the bed.
Okay.
Okay. And so now we have the dog escape. Okay.
Yes.
which is that's not a problem, but we hope.
We've never had that
We've
happen
never
before,
had
have
that.
we?
But considering who our next guest is,
It's
yeah,
one of those
yeah,
days.
it's gonna
yes.
be.
She, however, though, is dog 472, and she's in kennel 11, and her day out was 12-3. So, y'all, she's past it. She's a mix. She's a female, and she's 8 years old. She was found on Windermere Lane?
Windermere Lane.
Windermere Lane, yes. So
She would make a wonderful dog for, and I'm not going to say an elderly person,
No.
but an older person that's going to be at home
Yes.
that would like to have a very calm dog. Now, you know,
Yes.
this is a whole lot different from the one we had last week, who was absolutely precious, but he was everywhere.
Yes.
I mean, totally
He was
everywhere.
adopted, though, wasn't he?
He was.
He
Yeah.
was adopted.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful dog,
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful dog, and smart and
High
just
energy, though.
very high energy. Just needed to be disciplined.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
now let's explain a little bit about. You don't
we
just
do
go
this.
out to the shelter and pick up a dog.
Right. You go and you meet your dog of your choice that you want to look at, and you can walk down the kennel aisle and look at every one of them. And then they have a bonding room where you can take the dog of your choice to the bonding room and see how their personality suits with yours. And you can also bring your cat or your dog and see how their temperaments are toward each other also. But
it's not a true reading of what
Right.
the dogs are. And it takes a couple of weeks. You know, I always advocate a 2-week shutdown where you kennel them in a quiet corner and everything and let them get used to your life and your other animals. So,
Right.
anyway, go ahead, excuse
You
me.
can tell a little bit about it, but then you would go to the Jennifer at Animal Control, and she will take your money. It's a $50 adoption fee, and that fee includes your spay or neuter and the vaccinations, including the rabies and DHPP and all the first vaccinations for any dog. And the ones who will do it for the $50 is Appalachian on Spring Place and Dixie Day on North Lee. And if you have it taken to the veterinarian of your choice, they will deliver to any Bradley County veterinarian. If you take it to there, though, you will be responsible for whatever the difference of the $50 adoption fee and what the vet actually will charge you.
And the city doesn't get any of this $50. It goes toward the animal.
Right.
It's just, and it's not that we don't trust you, but as I said before, we don't trust you.
Right.
So we want to make sure they're spayed and neutered
Right.
because, you know, we spend our entire lives trying to find homes for these animals.
Right. And folks, this is a wonderful time of
Yes.
the year. You know,
Right.
probably none of you are out there shopping for me right now, but I don't need another thing at my house. Renee doesn't need
I'm the
another
same
thing.
way.
Mary
Nope.
doesn't need another thing. But if you want to give a Christmas gift, why don't you give an honorarium to the animal shelter?
Yes.
And it can be $25, it can be $5, it can be
Right.
$10, $15, and they will send a card
Yes.
to the person that you've given the honorarium for, and say, you know, so and so has given this in honor of you to the animal shelter. And that money, trust me, folks, it's put to good use.
It is.
Really is.
You can even call Animal Control and tell them that you want to either sponsor a dog in full, the $50, or just donate to the adoption
fund.
fund. And
They'll take your credit
they'll take
card
your
over
credit
the
card
phone.
over the
And-
phone.
okay,
So,
there you
yeah,
go.
How much
can-
easier can it be?
It cannot.
Exactly.
It cannot.
Don't
That's-
even have to leave your
That's
home to
almost
give
like
the gift.
shopping on Amazon. Shame
Yeah.
on you, but anyway, because we want you
But
to
your
shop
money
local.
will stay here.
But it
Right.
will stay here.
Yeah, that's
And it
the
will help
important thing.
save a life
Yeah.
And it
for
will.
Christmas.
Sweet
Will.
life. Yeah.
And we think she is about 8 years old.
Yeah, that's what they
But
have her listed
we-
at.
But you
She's
know,
a-
my last
She's sweet, though.
Springer lived to be 16.
Well, you saw her
So-
jump out of my
Well, yeah,
She's
I
not,
mean, very
she's
active
not an
dog,
old.
very active dog, and a pretty dog. And like I say, for maybe, now I'm not saying an elderly couple, but
Yeah.
an older
Yeah.
couple or an older single person
someone-
that just wants a companion, you
Yeah.
see.
Someone
that
who
she's
does
just
not
wonderful.
want to potty train a
Oh,
dog.
gosh, no.
Oh, give me an
puppy.
adult or a senior.
Oh,
any
really?
day.
Really.
Puppies are so cute as long as they're somebody else.
And I love puppy breath.
I love
puppy
puppies.
breath.
But-
But I like to transport puppies.
I love
Yes,
I
puppies.
get
but
to play
they-
with them
Right.
and then I pass
But-
them on.
That's right.
Yeah.
But there's the potty training that goes
Yep.
with the puppies.
They do take
and
a lot
also
of training.
the letting
Yip, yip,
them
yip, yip, yip,
not
and the
yes,
chewing
and
and
the
the-
chewing on your furniture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now I told you Mary's a volunteer at the Cleveland Animal Shelter, And they need folks to volunteer out there.
We do.
So they need dog walkers, they need dog talkers, they need dog sitters, they need
cat cuddlers.
Cat cuddlers. There you go. We'll get a whole list going here.
Yeah.
But it would really
people to
be
work
helpful.
the adoption events on Saturday too.
There you go.
Yeah.
And here again, folks, if you happen to be one of those people that needs the, what do they call them? Service hours.
Yes.
Service hours at Lee or at Cleveland State or even at one of the high schools.
Yeah.
You can go do some things. Just call out there. What's the phone number out there?
The phone number at Animal Control is 479-2122. 479-2122.
Okay, 2122. And you can just call out there and say, I'm only 16. I have a way out there. What can I do?
Okay, your parent will have to sign for you, and if you're under 18, your parent has to be there too.
Even if we're shoveling poop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're in with the kennels. And
they're in with the kennels, with the dogs,
the
and,
liability.
the liability.
I understand.
So,
I understand. But if you're over 18,
18.
you're okay.
You're okay.
So any way you want to do it, folks, but they need volunteers.
And if your parents want to bond with your student,
that's a great way to do
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
together and walk
go
the dogs.
together and walk the dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great way to
Absolutely.
bond with your child.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
teach them
Yeah.
to give and teach them responsibility of animals. You know, hi, sweetheart.
Now, do we have a name for this one, or have we just called her number
we're calling her
472?
Pearl.
Pearl. And Pearl,
Yes.
have you noticed Pearl has on a
And
cute little holly decoration
She
on
looks
her.
like she's a cattle dog Jack Russell mix, maybe,
She does.
or something.
And jumping around and out of your lap like she did, I would say Jack Russell, that's
Oh,
great. That's
definitely.
great. That's
Definitely.
great. Now, let's talk just
sweetheart.
real quickly, because we're getting up on commercial time here, but about the Facebook page that's done by Cleveland for a No Kill.
Okay.
Yes.
Cleveland for a No Kill City has a Facebook page, and they go every day and take pictures of the dogs and cats that are there, and they will post the pictures. Usually in the evenings around 6 o'clock, the pictures are posted. So go to the Facebook page of Cleveland for a No Kill City and look at the animals. If you see an animal there that has urgent listed above the title, it'll give the dog number and the date surrendered, where it was found, and all the information about. It also will list their phone number in that listing too about the dog. So call that number, and it's 464-6070. Call that number and have that dog put on the safe list for you to go adopt the next day. And that will save their lives if you do that.
Yeah.
Now,
However,
the shelter hours, like today, she'll go back to the shelter and
Yes.
she'll be there till, what are the hours at the shelter?
The hours are at the shelter are 11 until 5,
Okay,
Monday
till 5.
through Friday,
Okay.
and then only 10 till noon on Saturday. So this Saturday, because of the rain, the adoption event will probably, more than likely, be held at Animal Control. So get there as soon as you can to get your pick of the dog that you want. Look at her just smile.
She is. She's just precious.
She's really a sweet girl.
She is.
Yeah.
She is adorable.
so,
And what did you say, something about pictures with Santa?
oh yeah, Tractor Supply.
This Saturday from 10 until 3, they're at Tractor Supply. They are going to have animal pictures with Santa, also children too. So
Two-legged animals.
Two-legged or four-legged
two-legged or
animals, okay.
four-legged. But go by and have your picture taken with Santa. I think the price ranges around $30 or $40 on packages, you know, for the least pictures maybe or something. But it's a good thing. It goes to help rescue animals also, because part of those proceeds will go toward rescuing animals.
Very
good.
Mary,
Helping with the foster
thank
program.
you so much for being on with us. And
Thank you,
I hope
Nancy,
that
for
number
having us.
472,
Yes.
number 472, Pearl, we hope you find a home before Christmas.
Yes.
I
Folks,
know.
don't go away, because
needs
we
one.
have Dr. Carl Hyde is going to be on with us. And
She precious.
I'm not sure, but I think he could probably tell some interesting tales. So we'll be right back after this commercial and with Dr. Hyde, we hope, if we can find him.
Yeah, he was here. And
We
then
had him.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
And we are back, and we are chit-chatting, and we do that, you know. Renee and I get busted every time. And we're so thrilled to have with us Dr. Carl Hyde,
Yes.
a dear friend. He's been a friend for a long time, and I just wanted him on with me so I could talk to him about, I told him we were going to go back and talk about all the way back to the dinosaurs, but we won't go all the way back to the dinosaurs. But my first question to you is, how in the world did you end up in Cleveland, Tennessee?
Yeah. We've never heard
Because
that
I
story.
knew where it was because I tried to buy a truck from a farmer who lived in Cleveland.
Really?
You're kidding.
No, seriously, what happened is I worked years ago at Dalton Junior College, which is now Dalton State.
Right.
And I was looking for a presidency. I was in Florida at the time, and I saw this presidency open up in Cleveland. I said, I know where that is.
Whoa.
So I put my name in the hat, and they must have been real desperate. Well, they had very few applicants.
I don't think so.
And the rest, as they say, was history.
Well, it was interesting at the time because Chancellor Smith, Charles Smith, great gentleman. Anyway, he was a chancellor, and they did something that hasn't been done lately with the searches because we've just hired a new president. But I've always remembered this because the board sent a team of board members and the chancellor and his staff, and some of his staff all the way to Tampa, Florida to interview me.
Budget cuts.
Well, no, they came,
No,
except
they can't send all
they
those
couldn't
people now.
they couldn't find us.
Oh.
We gave them directions. They took a left instead of a right. They were going headed in a northerly direction. They were supposed to be in a southerly direction. They finally got to campus, and we had the interview. But because they like to visit the campus, they wanted to talk to folks at Hillsborough Community College just to see whether what I said in my letter was the truth or not.
That's good thinking.
That's very good thinking.
Oh, I think so, because really, I mean, how many times you want to see the campus, and is it really what that person said happened at that campus, and talk to folks. And so I kind of wish they'd continue to do that, but there are expenses associated with doing that. But still, I think this committee that did the search for my replacement, I think did an excellent job. We had a good applicant pool. I think it's a good assignment, I mean, in terms of what's happened here at the college, what's going on, and hopefully we'll continue and get better.
Now, how long?
Well, not
Donkey's
counting days, 17 years and 4 days.
Not counting
I came
days.
in December, which was an unusual time of the year, but that's the time of the search and when they wanted me to be here. And I didn't know a soul. What was interesting, the fourth day that I was here, I had the annual meeting of the Cleveland State Foundation.
Yes.
I didn't know anybody, anything that was going on. I guess, of no help whatsoever because I was just meeting folks. But I met a lot of folks right away.
Yeah.
I think I met you quite early.
I think so.
Hired you.
Yes.
So,
You did.
Speaking of the
Yeah, and I think-
foundation, you hired Renee, okay?
yes, and under your leadership, and I think Adam Lowe now, we've got a foundation for a college our size. I think is tremendous. There are a lot of colleges much larger than we. In fact, I can tell you right now, Hillsborough Community College with 42,000 students did not have a foundation with as much assets as this foundation has.
Wow.
So,
Wasn't it in the paper the other day? Here we go. Read the banner, people.
Yeah.
7.5 or something million?
7 point something $million.
Wow,
That's-
in the Cleveland State Foundation.
Endowment, yeah.
That is awesome.
This community, I think, has endorsed, I think the first president, Dr. Atkinson, realized the value. I think the leadership in this community stepped up to the plate, got involved very early, and have been very committed to that foundation in the college, because I think this college, what I learned about the history was that when they made the decision, you know, the original history with the colleges in the state, with the 3 grand regions, they were going to create 3 community colleges, 1 in each region. And so it came down to whether it would be Athens or Cleveland. And I guess evidently the leadership here did a better job than the leadership did in Athens. They made the decision to put the college here. And what amazes me, because we were a community college and you commute to a community college, is that we serve the entire eastern part of the state. So you talk about Johnson City, you talk about Morristown. I mean, this was the community college they would come to until they started building more community colleges. And it's interesting, too, I find in Tennessee, the 3 community colleges were all basically in rural areas. Well, in Florida, I had the privilege, and in fact, this is an interesting story because of the coincidence. James Wattenbarger was my mentor, but he wrote a dissertation, and I guess I can mention this word on the air, University of Florida, without getting into too much trouble. Uh-oh. This interview is over. We've enjoyed having you on the show.
That's right. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, his dissertation set up, in other words, he outlined where the junior colleges would go in Florida. And they started in the urban areas with the rural areas last. And Tennessee made a decision, for whatever reasons, to do it in 3 rural areas. And so Cleveland, in fact, what's even more interesting is that it was basically the college, because it was serving 17 counties. They built a lot of buildings, and we still struggle with that right now, because according to the formula that the Tennessee Board of Regents has, we're not entitled to any more buildings because of the square footage that we have. Well, it was built when there was a plan to have 17 counties being served. We now have gone to, it went down to 12 counties as they built some, and then when they built some more, it went to 5 counties. I think the 13 colleges are now, we're not going to be adding or subtracting. But it just surprised me because we don't qualify. And yet what makes it even more challenging, if we were to go to, let's say, the community, to give us the money to build a building, in many instances, those projects, because they're not funded by the state, you will not get the money to maintain the facility. And the problem with a facility is that probably 90% of the cost over a 20-year period is not the cost of building the building, it's the cost of maintaining the building. So I would say this, I'm proud to say that our folks, we haven't added any buildings, but I'll match the inside of our buildings with anybody in the state. We've done some renovating lately. We've actually renovated every building on campus in the last few years, and I really think that we have state-of-the-art. You name the area, we have it.
Just since I left, I come back on campus and I'm like, where is this? It's all new.
And I think a piece too that you'll like is that, I mean, I think we've really focused on going green, sustainability.
Yay!
Yeah, I know. Yeah, one of the major advocates. But really, I mean, we're a recognized arboretum, National Wildlife Refuge, tree campus. In fact, Cleveland has the distinction, I think, of the only city in Tennessee that has a tree campus. I think the utilities is a program for them, and they're a part of it. And then the city has theirs, and we're the only city that has all 3. And so I think that speaks highly of this community in terms of being able to say that. And it's a pretty campus, even though it's a little old.
It is a pretty campus.
Beautiful, I think, yeah.
And we've made some.
How old is it?
Well, it started out in a little office building on a COE. And I think 1960, well, it started out, that was the administrative headquarters.
Where Doug Blackwell's office is.
Today.
Okay.
And then there was a church. A church was used for the first year of classes, and then I think the first building, maybe 68?
68, 67,
Okay,
68, something like that.
so they do, all the buildings do have a little bit of age on them.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, they look, I think, the folks here, the maintenance folks, the custodial folks, just folks in general, because they don't, you know, I've been at places where the people mess up a place because there's people paid to clean up those messes. Well, bad philosophy.
That's
but anyway,
very bad, yes.
I think people take care of the campus, and I think for the buildings as old as they are, because right now it is very difficult to get a building project approved. And I'll give an example. Usually the wait time has been up to 20 years. From the time you begin the process to get a building, you get in the pipeline, because the problem is, you know, the state of Tennessee, I think, has done a good job in terms of they're handling their finances, but it's been some lean years when it comes to dollars for buildings. And I kid Sidney McPhee, he's the president at MTSU, because he started, you know, he put in his building, and it was a science building that's running about $120 million. Well, it stopped everything for 2 years because it was #1 on the list, but the legislature didn't have the money to fund the $120 million. Therefore, anything behind MTSU didn't get funded or built.
But now,
And
you know,
so-
my son's a professor at MTSU, so I'm sure he was thrilled.
Oh,
but
I'm
but
sure,
he's
yeah.
not a science professor,
Well,
okay?
that's probably the thing too. There's probably other faculty there said, what a waste.
He's an English professor, so I bet he did.
But you know, that's kind of another subject too. I mean, we talk about science and the STEM professions, and yet when we talk to employers, they're looking for people who can communicate. Well, that's your writing and your reading, and then we're talking about math. There isn't a profession out there, but the STEM professions definitely. You've got to have good math skills these days.
Yes, you do.
And guess what is lacking? It amazes me, but I'll also brag too, and I'll brag because not so much me, but well, I had a role to play, a little bit.
Yeah.
You
Anyway.
did. You played a large role. Yes,
Well,
you did.
The math.
Under my tenure.
Well, okay, I like that. I'm going to put it on my resume. We discovered, and the math faculty realized it, that it wasn't working. And we have, unfortunately, well, I've been here 17 years, give or take a percent, about 60% of the new students coming to us are unfortunately not college ready. And it's usually in the math. And we were losing 50% of them weren't getting out of math, which meant they weren't going to college level, they weren't going to graduate, all those things that we're now focusing on, that wasn't going to happen. Well, the math faculty decided that we need to do things differently. And today's champion, John Squires, actually was the department chair at the time, and then Chattanooga State made him a deal I would have taken. But what was good about that, I hated to lose John, but what was good about it is we won an award in 2009 called the Bellwether for the Outstanding Academic Program. And some folks criticized Cleveland State because the population wasn't very diverse. Well, my service area isn't very diverse. And so
You're right.
we were small. Well, you can do that because you're small. If you're big, you can't do that. Well, John took it to Chattanooga State. They're much larger than we are. They're a very diverse
Very
population.
diverse. They are very diverse.
And they were very successful with this format. And so we have really, and a program that exists just getting started basically has been phenomenally successful. I think is going to change education in Tennessee, which we hope will then change it in other states. We have a program called SAILS, and I can never remember what it stands for, but it deals with learning support. And what we're doing is, because juniors in Tennessee are required to be tested at the end of their junior year to find out whether they're college ready or not, what we're doing now for the senior year of math, the state created what's called a bridge course. This was going to take them from not being college ready to being college ready.
Okay, can you hold that thought? We got to take a commercial break.
I sure hope I can. I'm getting
I know, me too. I'm your age, so I know.
Maybe all
Just
three
hold
of
that
us
thought.
can.
I remember bridge, okay? Folks, don't go away. We're going to be right back with Dr. Heiss, and everybody remember the word bridge, okay? Because that's what we're going to talk about.
And high school juniors.
And whatever we just said. But we'll be right back. Don't go
Town
away.
Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don't let for Chevy Buick GMC in Athens. A $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now, Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
And we're back, and I told you all to remember math and bridge, okay? So
And
that's
high
where
school
we
juniors.
are. And high school juniors. So math, bridge, high school juniors.
Okay.
Here we go.
I think I can pick up where I left off.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
There we go.
So what we have is our developmental math very much reflects the bridge course. And so what we've done is we've partnered with all of 11 of our area high schools said yes.
Cool.
And so what we're doing is they're taking with this redesigned math taught very differently than the traditional math course. And we're having phenomenal success. Most of the students, in other words, what it is it's a 5 competency course, totally competency based. You've got to demonstrate mastery before you can move on. You move at your own pace. Some of the students finished all 5 competencies in 3 weeks. Some are taking 5 weeks. And what we're doing is we're allowing them to begin immediately college level math of some kind if they wish, dual enrollment. And so what we think is going to happen is that they could leave high school. Okay, first they're being told that they're not college ready. Now we're allowing them before they finish their senior year, and what we're doing, the school systems have been great in terms of if they run out of time, let's say they're 2 or 3 weeks away from finishing the college level course and the high school semester comes to an end. The high school, particularly our local high schools in particular, have said they will extend their lab until sometime in June. We're going to keep ours open in some time until June because we want the student to finish and not wait to come back in the fall. But if they can't come in the summer, because we have all the records, they do not repeat what they've already had. If they've demonstrated 3 competencies and have 2 to go, all they'll have to do in the fall is pick up the 2 competencies. And so we've had phenomenal success. Developmental math in the old days, if you tested in the lowest level, took you 3 semesters before you got to college level. They never made it to college level.
Of course not. You're going to get very frustrated. You're going to leave.
Yeah. Well, now
And it was 5 hours of lecture.
you don't learn math by doing lecture.
No.
How do you even lecture math?
Well, I tell you what, my Karen Wyrick is my math department chair now.
She's phenomenal.
Wonderful.
She's phenomenal, yes.
She fought it more than anybody else. She said, we're not doing this. I like to lecture. You can't take my lecture. Well, they actually do still lecture, but this is what they refer to as flipping the classroom. It used to be, okay, I would lecture, I would assign homework, student would go home and not be able to do half of it.
Right.
Bring it back the next day. It would take a week before the instructor got back the homework. In the meantime, the course kept moving on. So it only got worse for the student.
Yeah.
You got further, because it's sequential.
We're behind
build
her
on
and
it.
behind
Yes.
her.
I remember that so well. Math was not one of my
Well,
best
there's a lot.
subjects, yeah.
Think about this, because we say this, and I will say to you, "Oh, that's okay. I'm not good at math either."
Yeah.
We don't say, "Well, I'm not very good at writing," but that's okay.
Yeah.
You're not very. Oh, we don't say that about reading. We don't say that about writing. But it's okay to do poorly at math. Well, not in today's world. Even for the non-STEM professions, just your everyday life. You've got to
Budgeting,
balance a
balancing your
checkbook.
checkbook, yeah.
All those things. I love my son. My oldest son is an attorney, very bright. But, you know, he would write checks. And he felt as long as he still had checks in the checkbook, he still had money in the bank. I said, Kevin, it doesn't work that way.
No, and here you are, past president of junior achievement, and you've not done any better with your child?
Yeah, I know. I tell you what, though, but I mean, but he makes so much money.
Well, that's good.
He probably,
Well, let me tell you what, this is how well Tennessee presidents are paid. When I first started here, and then when he started, he graduated from Georgetown Law. His starting salary at a law firm in L.A., his starting salary was more than I was making after, I forget how many years I'd been here. I mean, it was just like, here's this young kid. But that's just, I mean, he's good at what he does, and so
Well, that's
they're
the
willing to
beast
pay for
called
that.
education, too.
Yes, oh, absolutely,
Now,
absolutely.
I just want to praise you a few minutes. I mean, I've known Carl ever since he came here, and it's real funny because we used to laugh because sometimes my emails would go into spam.
yeah.
Now, I would like for you to explain to Dr. Seymour that is not how my emails work. They do not go into spam. But anyway,
I will make sure he knows who
Carl
you
got
are.
that straightened out. But you have been active in the Chamber of Commerce. You've been your past chairman there.
Rotary.
Rotary, Junior Achievement. And that's another thing I've just loved about you is the fact that you not just kept yourself right here. And by the way, folks, we are on Cleveland State's campus, and part of that is because Dr. Hyatt helped move it here from where it was, and now we're here, and we have wonderful studio and everything else. But you didn't just stay here. You got out in the community.
He brought people on campus, like right down the hall is a Girls and Boys Clubs campus, satellite campus.
Yes, and the dual enrollments, too. You did that.
Dual enrollments, the 2 business incubators that we now have on campus.
Yes, and we do have 2 incubators.
Who's across the street now?
That's JA.
Junior Achievement is over there.
They have a permanent place that you can get to.
And so, really.
Think about it. I mean, our middle name is community.
Right.
And I really felt that it was important for me to get out and meet folks. And this community made it easy. But I really enjoyed, when you mentioned the chamber, this is the 3rd chamber I have chaired. And I look at what chambers do. I mean, this community the chamber is a major player in terms of economic development. And community colleges are major players in economic development. And let me share this new program we have with you.
Okay,
Because it relates to...
Breaking news.
Well, in fact, we've just had Wacker and Volkswagen have both been on campus. But what we discovered, and I'm not going to take credit for it, but we became aware of it. Southwest Tennessee Community College in Memphis, we became aware of a program they had that involved assessment of skills. And what we discovered, I've never forgot this, because we were sitting in the UTC with the governor, the CEO of Volkswagen. And when Volkswagen first came to town, it was huge. I mean, and they advertised, and they had thousands and thousands of applicants for a few thousand jobs. So they got the cream of the crop. I mean, I wasn't worried about Volkswagen not finding good employees. Well, the CEO from Volkswagen said that basically 95 out of every 100 applicants from Tennessee were unqualified. The governor goes, 95 out of 100? Tell me about the 95. And they couldn't. They hired an outside private company to do the assessment, and so that's all privileged information, and so that didn't help the governor. Well, this program, and it makes all the sense in the world, and every community college should be doing this, is that there's a company called Scientific Management that has 4 pieces of equipment that basically you can take and break it down so it doesn't work in a variety of ways. And then 95% of the skills in any manufacturing job can be tested by using one of these pieces of equipment or a combination of the equipment. And so what we want to do is we want to do all the assessments, because that means we have the results.
Absolutely.
That means we can tell the individual, this is where you did fine and this is where you came up short. Well, what really triggered this even more, CBS 60 Minutes one night was interviewing a gentleman, and we're focusing on workforce development. He says, I've applied for over 200 jobs, been called for 2 interviews, and I don't know why I'm not getting called. Well, that's because nobody was telling him where he was coming up short. And so now what we were fortunate enough to find some dollars, the governor's been very good to us, to build a new wing onto the technology building. The purpose of that space is basically to do the training and conducting the assessments of both for soft skills, the communication, working as a team player, all those kind of things, the hard skills specifically related to that industry. And the piece I think employers tend to miss are the academic skills, the reading, writing, and math. Because to me, if you don't have those skills, you're not going to move forward. Even though you may learn how to turn a wrench and look at this and do that, if you can't read and write and communicate, you're not going to get past lower level. And so what we have now in place, and the feedback we've gotten from the local industry, particularly the Cleveland Associated Industries. For example, we did Cormatech, and what we have now too, a piece of it involves a boot camp, and we leave this up to the manufacturer looking for the employers, or looking for the employees. We'll conduct a boot camp, but what makes the boot camp, usually they can run about a week, a few hours a day, and it's up to the employer on how often and what skills they want addressed. But what changes this is the employer gets to sit in the room as the instruction is going on to watch the employees, who's interacting with who's taking a leadership role, who really has a command of the language, who can solve problems, all these things. And so we did this for Cormatech, and Denise will share this with you, the plant manager. She says it's the best hires they've ever had.
Wow.
And then we had Merck approached us, because this also can be used for promotion. If you've got a good person on the line, will they make a good supervisor? Because it's different skills.
It certainly is.
But we can test for those skills. Well, what happened, Merck came to us, and we are testing every single one of their employees.
Wow.
Volkswagen has just come to us, even though they're not in our service area. They decided they want to come to us. And Wacker is, even though we were not able to do the specific training for Wacker, because this is crazy, but this is the world we live in. They're in a chemical processing business that requires a distillation tower that has to be in a building at least 40 feet high. They came to us, and I told them, we don't have a building 40 feet high on this campus. So I went to the...
And you're not going to build one.
Well, I went to the Tennessee Board of Regents, and I said, how fast can you build a building?
20 years.
Well, they said 1.5 years. Well, and I kid Jim Catanzaro about this all the time at Chattanooga State. Well, they started looking around who was close, and Jim's pretty close. So they went down to Chattanooga State, and if they had come a week earlier, they would have said no, they didn't have a building. Just so happened at that time, I think it was Olin Mills had a building immediately adjacent to campus, and gave it to Chattanooga State, and it was 40 feet high.
There you go.
So they basically renovated the building, and that's where the training specifically for the chemical processing piece took place, because they needed to put, they actually have a distillation tower, and it's got to be in a building at least 40 feet high. And so he lucked out on that one. But nevertheless, I mean, the important thing is that Wacker's getting the training. I mean, I think it was a huge coup for this community.
Oh, well, you worked on
and
that.
I worked on that,
yes. and we all worked on that.
Well, I can remember the night that I got installed as I guess, as president. Was that the title we had?
Chairman of the board,
Chairman of the board. I think I identified 6 previous chairs, because I think we'd been talking to Wacker for a good number of years. And those things just don't happen overnight.
No.
And so, I think the governor, Governor Bredesen at the time, I mean, Tennessee had something to brag about.
Oh.
$3 billion projects landed in this state, which no other state could even think about. So hopefully, I think this is still a manufacturing community.
Yes.
The key is, I think the challenge now, but with this equipment, what we're looking at now, we're starting to do a lot more summer camps aimed at the STEM professions.
I noticed that, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, these kids you can't wait till the senior year of high school to tell someone that maybe you might have an interest. So we're going after elementary, we're going after middle, junior high school kids. What's been great is we now have the facilities and the people that can do the training. And so we feel like we're in a good situation right now. We've got the incubator. If you want to start your own business, you can, and yet this is great news, or good news, bad news, depending on how you want to look at it. We have had 100% occupancy on the first incubator, and that's been around since I think 2008 or 7. We opened up what we call our green incubator, and we have 100% occupancy.
Wow.
And then we also, a real plus for us is because the Small Business Development Center is located on our campus.
Yes, and they are the best kept secret
I could not
in the
ask
Southeast.
for
I'm telling you right now.
a better group of folks.
They're wonderful.
They have, I mean, there's each community college, the Small Business Development Centers in the state of Tennessee are pretty much located on the campuses of the community colleges. And so you have, you know, there's a business incubator in Nashville and Memphis and Knoxville. Our little Small Business Development Center here has the second largest volume of loans in the state of Tennessee.
Wow.
And I've just got, Dave and his crew do an absolutely great job of getting out there. They have a great relationship with the local banks, and I think what the local banks have discovered, what the Small Business Development Center will do is, if I'm trying to start a business, bring your business plan to me. Well, what they usually discover, they haven't got a clue to what a business plan is.
That's true, that's true.
And so they'll help them, and if they get to the point that this is a solid business plan, the banks feel very comfortable in giving a loan because the Small Business Development Center has blessed that this is a good business plan and it will work. And we've had some wonderful businesses in that incubator that have gone on to bigger and better things. What we do is, because you can't stay there forever, is that we're giving each company about 2 to 3 years to get to that point that we throw you out. Because we have a waiting list of people trying to get in.
Yeah.
And so,
and it's just supposed to be for startups. It's not supposed to be for you to be there forever.
Right. Yeah. And so it's been really, and I've got some new folks on that. I mean, well, Dave's done a good job of hiring. Rick Creasy, who's my director of workforce development, comes to us from the private sector, has done a marvelous job. We've been fortunate enough. UTC has been very kind to us to give us some graduate students to work with us, and so we have been fortunate to have more people in place because we're getting overwhelmed with requests for the assessments, and we don't have enough trained people to do the assessments, and so we're rapidly trying to train folks. It's helpful if you've had experience in manufacturing to think about, and what we're looking for is folks part-time that would be available, that all of a sudden we have a companies come to us that we can call you and say, listen, can you work next Tuesday or next Wednesday or next Thursday? And I think it was Volkswagen. I was talking to my VP for business this morning. He indicated that Volkswagen wanted to do, I forget how many hundreds of employees, and we figured, well, that's going to take a year. Oh no, we're going to do it 24/7. You're going to do it. It's just going to run from starting at 6 in the morning until midnight or something, pretty much. And I'm going, whoa, where are we going to find all the people to do all this assessment? And then if they're deficient, is to find enough people depending on what they're deficient in. But that to me is the secret. If we can.
That's a great problem to have, though.
Oh, absolutely. But to me, it gives. I mean, employers are still complaining about the fact that they can't find qualified employees. Well, we think we're going to fix that, because what we're also is we're dipping down into the high schools to give the kids a chance to play with some of this equipment and find out that they, if you haven't been to Volkswagen, visit the Volkswagen plant. It's not, remember the comedy sitcom Laverne and Shirley?
Oh, yes.
I mean, factories, the impression most parents have, and I guess the kids too, is that grimy and dirty and who wants to work? Now everything, you can drop food on the floor and pick it up, and it's computers.
My kitchen.
You don't have to use the 5-second rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it absolutely, when I got the tour of Volkswagen, was just amazed. Well, what they need is people who can understand manufacturing but run robots. So we're in the process of upgrading our facilities we've got some ancient robots. I think they were the original that when the first robot came out, we still have it. But we now have replaced it with state-of-the-art, because a lot of it is, everything's going robots. Yeah. And
can you hold that thought, too? Joe just came around the corner. Our producer just came around the corner and said we need to take a commercial break. And I had just asked for Carl to be here for 2 segments. But if we could go to commercial, Producer Joe, and we'll come back and we'll finish up right here, because I'm having a ball. I don't know what everybody else is, but I'm having a ball.
I'm learning stuff.
I really am. Yeah. So let's go to commercial, Joe, and we'll come back. Joe. Hello, Joe. Are you there?
Joe.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
And we're back, and we're having so much fun with Carl that we just told him to hang around, and so the community calendar is gone, okay?
Yeah, sorry about
now,
that.
The
Read
only
your
thing,
newspaper.
The only thing I do want to say is Friday is the 9th Christmas for the Red Ribbon, so we'll be open 9 hours from 9 until 6, and you get 9% off of your total purchase, and there's some really funny little things you can do to get an additional 9%, so call me, 473-1114, and I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. But actually, from 11 to 2, if you bring in a non-perishable food item for the caring place, you'll get an additional 9% off. And Reba has been kind enough to say, we would love to have your food that's coming in. So that is my little spiel.
Well, can I pick up on that spiel just
Yes,
for a
you
second? Because it
go.
was a perfect segue.
You go.
The caring place.
Yes.
Service learning is big here on campus.
Oh, and I
We
think
have
that's wonderful.
Students are engaged in the community in some way, and I really think any study you do is this increased engagement. They actually apply what they're learning. Well, it's been great that we have this partnership with Caring Place, because SACPAC, I think, is an absolutely outstanding program.
It's fantastic.
It's a shame that there is a need in any community that there are kids who just aren't nourished enough, I guess, on a weekend when they go home. And so this program exists, but they were running out of space. We had some underutilized space on campus. And so to me, it was a win-win, because they've been able to expand the amount of food that they can prepare and put in these, the number of students they can serve. It gives our students, those that wish to do their service learning, can actually do it here on campus. And so to me, it's been a win-win.
And see, that's another thing you've been involved with since you're here, and that's United Way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have told Dr. Seymour that there's several things. And, you know, I thought it was very nice of you to say how they welcomed you into the community. I think it was more of a, we're demanding that you do something.
Yeah, I kind of picked up on that.
because that happened to you. I know it did. And,
yeah, but that's the way it should be. I mean, how do you know what's going on in your community unless you're out there?
That is true.
I've done, one of the things I require my senior staff is, you know, we're in 5 counties. There's at least, in fact, there's at least 5 chambers, because some counties have a county chamber and a city chamber, and an economic development authority, and okay, that's okay. But what I've tried to do is I've got at least one member of my staff is very involved in that chamber. What we also do too is that with the service organizations, and they're big in this community, is that we're trying to get representation from the college in every service organization in town so that we know what's going on, and they can, and we've been of some benefit. I think the fact that I'm in the Noontime Rotary, I think has been beneficial. In fact, we picked up, this is truly, I think, is the way colleges should work. The best program, business and education.
Serving together.
Serving together, thank you, I can never remember that. Anyway, we had a faculty member, Jerry Chumbley, he was one of the original faculty members, discovered that Taylor Elementary in the county is a large part of the population, the student population, is available for free lunch.
Free or reduced lunch,
free or reduced
yes.
lunch. And so he discovered that art was not being offered in the county schools. So he went ahead and took art students as part of a program they were in, and they would go to the school on a Friday afternoon and teach art. Schools absolutely loved it, and so we decided to adopt Taylor as our best partner.
I remember when you did that, yes.
And we have become so involved in that school now, both in terms of faculty, staff, our students. In fact, we have a holiday brunch scheduled at the college on Friday. And there's usually music. Well, Taylor Elementary is bringing out their choir to sing along with our choir.
Great. And that's another wonderful thing that y'all have. You've gotten a music department developed here.
Karen Dale has been absolutely marvelous, and we're doing things I used to kind of dream about.
I digress from Taylor, though. I'm sorry. Go back to it.
Yeah, Taylor has just, I mean, we just recently, for example, we are turning over computers about once every 3 years because they're changing so fast. Well, we don't want to throw them away. And so we give staff and faculty kind of first shot, but we still have computers. Well, they didn't have a computer lab. So they now have a computer lab because what they need doesn't have, I mean, they can do a lot with that. And then we also we got involved with one of my faculty members, Kelly Ormsby, and her husband, absolutely marvelous. If you go out to Taylor Elementary, they have created a garden, but it's built around reading. And they're growing all these fruits and vegetables and learning about them, but it was tied to reading about them and so on, and they absolutely love it. I was out there the other day.
Carl, you're wonderful. And I'm going to miss you so much. You have no idea. And folks, honestly, you have no idea how many times I call on Carl and that's why I used to laugh about, do not send my email to spam anymore. But we're out of time, and I could have just talked to you all the rest of the day. Well, Cleveland State, I tell you, the people there, the faculty, the staff, I've been blessed. I mean, it's not what I do, it's what they do.
Yes.
And,
he's also so humble. I mean,
I know.
He's like, I didn't do this, they did that.
For a big guy, he is pretty humble.
Yeah, he did.
Yes. But honestly, we wish you the very best in what you're going to do, whatever that may be. I'd say rest a little while for at first. Well, I'm going to take the advice of the Governor Bredesen. When he was retiring, I asked him, what are you going to do? For 6 months, I'm going to do nothing. Well, I'm going to do a little bit because I've committed to some things, but I really want to take 6 months to really think about. But I'm still going to be involved in higher education in Tennessee. Fantastic. Good. Carl, thank you so much. And I know to work you into the schedule, we had to do a little bit of shuffling around and get you back from Nashville to here and do this and that and the other. But I really appreciate you being on with us today. Well, thank you for the invitation.
You can adopt a dog.
Yes, and we will find you a dog to adopt. And Renee has one last thing to tell you about dogs.
Yes, it's so cold. Take your animals inside, or if they're outside, make sure, if you're cold, they're cold. Make sure they have a warm, safe place. And their water isn't frozen.
Yeah, and that's right. Yeah. And thank you all so much for being with us today. And there's a lot more you could learn about Cleveland State, but they're more than willing to. If you call over here, somebody will show you around the campus and tell you everything that you need to know. So,
and if you have a group and need a program, a speaker, just call.
And
all right, choral group to come and sing. Karen will bring that group over to sing.
There's a show Thursday night here at the campus that begins at 7 p.m. in the auditorium.
Okay, there you go. And that's another thing you've updated is the whole auditorium is redone, and then the Johnson Foundation was kind enough to help us out tremendously. Very different building today. It is. It's gorgeous. I was in there the other night for the Junior Achievement Choir Sing thing. Okay, we're hearing that we need to say goodbye, folks, and thank you all so much for being with us. And Carl, thank you.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate it so much. And we'll be back with you next week. So see you then.
We'll be back.